Ladies and gentlemen, we are a day late, never a dollar short. And although we did have to push this episode back, it's not gone. It's here. It's a new week. It's Convince Me. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We are back. It is the Convince Me Show. I am Andy Rutherford, as always, and joined, as most of the time, by Mr. Brian Bennett, Mr. Casey Elrod. Gentlemen, how goes it?
How's it going, guys? Coming from a new location today for our watchers that watch us online. There's no clock. It's gone. Gone.
Live from his laundry room.
Yep, as you can see.
Yeah, so for the people that are watching, I'm wearing a black shirt, and that is by no accident. I am in mourning. I'm mourning the season. The Atlanta Braves baseball season is officially over.
Yeah.
And looking forward to football now, guys.
There are more than one player on a team.
Not when he accounts for like a quarter of all the production they have in their offense. It's gone.
We have no pitching. We had one hitter. He's gone.
We're
done.
It's next man up.
If the Mets somehow screw this up, it would be the most Mets thing to ever happen. It really would.
I was about to say, if anybody can screw it up, stay tuned. But yeah, we're talking a little baseball this week, guys and gals, as we are recording as of a couple of days ago for you all now. Of course, it's All-Star Week. Last night, as we're recording, was the All-Star Game. A couple nights ago, the Home Run Derby, which we're going to be talking about quite extensively here in a moment. But before we get into that and this week's topic, here is your we need some kind of drop for this. Your weekly shill. Make sure you're checking us out on all of our socials. Facebook.com/ConvinceMeShow is probably our most active social media site. There used to be videos there. There's not now, but you should still check us out over there on Facebook, Twitter @ConvinceMeShow. Of course, if every now and then we get lazy, we let you guys pick the show topics. When we do, there will be a poll, and that poll will be found on Twitter @ConvinceMeShow. We're on Instagram, Convince Me Show over there as well. And then we are on the YouTubes, tinyurl.com/ConvinceMeShow. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're liking our videos, you're commenting on our videos. And of course, we are a podcast. So check us out wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. It really helps us a lot. And speaking of helping us, it is that time of year again. It is Podcast Awards season. Make sure you head over to podcastawards.com. There's a button there on the main page to register. Hit that button, fill out the info, and make sure you're voting for us for People's Choice and for the entertainment category. And then vote for all your other favorite podcasts in the other categories, as long as they're not direct competition with us. If you vote for anybody in direct competition with us, then shame on you. I will have Pete Alonso take a bat to your head like it was a baseball at Coors Field Monday night. Shame on you. And then lastly, as part of the weekly shield, I do want to give, we usually don't do this on the show, but I want to give a shout out to another podcast. Usually we don't promote other people's stuff, but here we are. Pro Wrestling for Life with Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac, aka Six, aka the 123 Kid. Their newest episode's dropping today as this one is dropping. And if you check it out at about the hour and 20-minute mark, there might be somebody that you're familiar with on there for very entertaining segment. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Big shout out to those guys. Not only Sean Waltman, but also his co-host Nick Hausman. Great dudes. I appreciate you guys having me on again. Make sure you guys go check out my appearance over there, as well as the rest of their that episode and all their episodes. They do a great job over there, and they're still relatively new with this form, so you can binge listen and catch up pretty quickly. Again, that's Pro Wrestling for Life, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So with that free shield for them, but Elrod, you look surprised. Did I not tell you that I was going on their show this week?
Again? No, you did not.
Yeah, I went on there again.
So you're just like a regular host on there now. You've been on there twice.
I know, it's
You're
crazy. I got called an a-hole by one of my childhood heroes this week, and it's quite an accomplishment for me.
Something to put on the resume right there.
He does not lie. Just kidding.
No, you're not. Anyway, all right. This week, guys, as we mentioned, it's All-Star Week. And Monday night, I hope you guys tuned in for the show that was going on at Coors Field. You know, they talk about, for those of you that are baseball fans, you know, everybody talks about, oh, the thin air at Coors Field and Mile High in Denver. And you think, maybe that's just a little overblown. No, it is not. There were bombs being hit Monday night by multiple contestants in that home run derby, including the one polar bear, University of Florida alum, current New York Mets first baseman, rookie of the year, rookie home run leader. He's kind of a big deal, coming away with his back-to-back home run derby champions. But this week, Bennett and Elrod are going to have a little home run derby of their own. Now, they're not hitting. I've seen Bennett hit a few home runs in his day. I've seen Elrod hit one. But while this week they're coaching, they're not participating. But they're going to be drafting their home run derby team. They each get teams of 5, and they will pick their guys, and then they will explain to me why their home run derby team would be the winner. And I'm a little underprepared this week. Usually when I'm judging this, I have my own list that I go by and score by. I don't have that this week. So these guys are going to have to convince me with their arguments, and I do look forward to that. And I will give you two gentlemen a warning. If you're going to try to play to the host, be careful.
Ooh.
Because if you play to the host in a certain way, it could work out really well for you. If you play to the host in another way, it's actually going to bite you in the rear end.
Stop the tape. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me if I don't go first overall with Bobby Bonilla, I'm going to lose? Is that what you're telling me?
That man has been paid longer than anybody in Major League Baseball. The greatest contract in sports history. Kudos to him and his agent. But anyway, let's determine a draft order, shall we, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
All right. So, as I mentioned, there were bombs being hit Monday night at Coors Field. Juan Soto broke the Coors Field record with a 520-foot home run, which was insane. A lot of home runs going over 500 feet Monday night. There's thin air at Coors. The ball will fly. My question for you is this: the closest without going over, and pay attention very carefully to the way I word this. What is the longest home run in an actual game, not a home run derby, in an actual game in Coors Field in inches? Not feet, inches. Longest home run in Coors Field history.
Coors Field. I don't know. I gotta do math. I don't like doing math. This is about ridiculous.
All right, well, let's do it this way. Go ahead and get your number ready.
No, I've got a number here. I'm ready.
many inches are in a foot? Is it 12?
Okay.
Hang on. I think that's right. Bro, I need to cheat off you again, like high school.
6,150.
What was that?
6,150.
I got 6,360.
Wow. Both of you very, very close. The longest home run in a game in Coors Field history was hit in 2015 by Trevor Story that went 505 feet, making it 6,060 inches. Both of you very, very close. Both of you go over, but Elrod within 100 inches.
How about that?
6,150. So, Mr. Elrod, would you like the first pick, or would you like to be at the 1-2 turn getting the second, third pick?
I want the first overall pick tonight.
All right. Well, with that being said, Elrod, you are on the clock.
All right. This is going to be a very unconventional draft tonight. I mean, I have a wide assortment of players that I could choose from. The person that I will be going, number one with is a player, but I am choosing a player in a specific year.
You're picking a player for a home run derby. That's a good choice.
Yes, I'm picking a player in a specific year, and it just so happens to be his best year. Think back.
I would hope so if you're trying to compile the best team. But continue.
2008. The home run derby in 2008 was on the decline. We all know that. You no longer had Sosa. You didn't have Griffey anymore. You didn't have McGuire. But you did have this guy, kind of an unknown guy, that had a good first half of the season. He strolls into old Yankee Stadium, and it's kind of an unknown quality. He comes into the home run derby, and he lights it on fire. So much that the local New York news media said that no person in the history of Yankee Stadium, in terms of a road player, in terms of someone that was not a Yankee, got a standing ovation, and that was Josh Hamilton in that performance that he had in 2008. I know you're snarling your nose at this pick, but if I want a home run derby, I want someone that hits bombs, and he was hitting bombs in that right field porch all night long. So much so, before the competition, he asked some of the New York Yankee personnel if anybody had hit the subway that borders the right field wall. His goal was to hit the subway. That would have been almost a 600-foot shot. He didn't quite hit that, but he did hit bombs in the upper deck at Yankee Stadium. So I'm going with Josh. If I want a fun home run derby, this is probably not, in terms of overall player, not the best, but I'm going with Josh Hamilton, number one. 2008 Josh Hamilton. Might have been on a little bit of cocaine, Josh Hamilton. So I'm going specific year, 08 Josh Hamilton is my number one pick. If I could bring him.
I made a face. That's not a bad pick at all. It's just not necessarily who I was thinking first round, but hey, I'm not picking you.
It's a reach. It's a reach, but it's a good reach.
Bennett, who's your first round draft choice?
There's only one correct answer when you ask who do you want to be the leader of your home run derby team. And that is Mr. Ken Griffey Jr. That is your number one pick. Okay. Yep. You got Griffey up to the plate. He puts the hat on backwards. He has that majestic left-handed swing that we all tried to do when we were kids, even though we're all right-handed. Here's the thing. Ken Griffey is the only person to win the home run derby more than twice. He won it 3 times. He won it 94, 98, and 99. He's the first person that went back-to-back winning it, like I said, in 98 and 99. But even more impressive than that is he also finished second place another 3 times. So he also holds a record for the most of home run derby appearances with 8. So if you look at this, he was in 8 home run derbies, okay? In 6 of those 8 home run derbies, he finished either first or second. That is completely dominant for me. So if you're going to have a home run derby team, your number one guy has to be the guy that's won it more than anybody in the history of baseball. So King Griffey.
Good pick.
I'll go more into my analysis on Griffey when I do break down the full teams, but I will say probably a steal at number 2. I will say that. So with that being said, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and after that break, we will be right back. Welcome back, guys and gals. We finished the first round of our Bennett and Elrod compiling their home run derby teams. Elrod, just to recap, with the first overall pick going with Josh Hamilton, specifically citing 2008. But we can't do that. If so, Griffey would be on this list like 6 out of the 10 spots. Well, I want 98 Griffey. Well, I'm taking 96 Griffey. We're not doing that here. You drafted Josh Hamilton. You can highlight 2008 in your argument, but you took Josh Hamilton. And then, of course, Bennett taking Griffey with his first pick at number 2 overall. And Bennett will start our second round with a 3rd overall pick. Who is your selection?
Okay. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be transparent here. My second pick is not playing up to the judge. If this guy played for the Phillies, I would still be picking this guy. My number 2 pick is going to be the polar bear himself, Pete Alonso. The reason why a lot of people are going to go with him, it's fresh on your brain. He won it in 2019. Of course, we didn't have it last year. He won it again this year, but he didn't just win it this year. He absolutely ran away with it this year. He's the 3rd person ever to win back-to-back home run derbies. Talk a little bit more about that later in the show, hopefully. He set a record for the most home runs in the first round with 35. Absolutely smashed the record. He set a record for the most home runs in a derby for a winner. Total was 74, which beat out the old total of 61. He was hitting bombs like over 500 feet and didn't even break a sweat. And dude just has some swag about him too. He's up there. Like, he looked like he was actually having more fun than any of the other guys out there. A lot of guys were focusing, concentrating, trying to knock him out. Dude's over there just popping his head and just cranking them out. But I have to give partial credit to Pete Alonso and give partial credit to the guy that was throwing him meatballs right across the middle of the plate. I seen a little graphic today that showed all the pitches that he got, and like it was every single pitch was dead center of the plate. It was absurd how good what's his name? Dave
Strauss.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that guy. So he gets partial credit too on my list. But yeah, even if Pete Alonso played for any other team, I'm taking him second. Of course, we know right now Griffey is king when it comes to home run derbies, but should Pete Alonso decide to compete again next year, he should be a clear-cut favorite to win and be the first person ever to three-peat. So I think getting him at number 2 is a great spot for him.
What's crazy, yes, the guy pitching for him this year was money. And Alonso deserved that, and here's why. I don't know if you guys remember the 2019 Home Run Derby, but he was trying to look out for those that have helped him along the way, because he's real big about that. You saw the painted bats he had Monday night that reflected different areas of his career, but he's real big about that. Well, in 2019, he had, I think it was his high school coach that was throwing to him in that derby, or an old travel ball coach or something. And that dude was awful. That dude was only throwing it over the plate like half the time, much less not dead center. And he still won it. So I don't blame him for making it a priority to go find the best he could as far as giving him meatballs this time. So he did it with the worst of help, and then he did it this year with the best of help.
And he did it with the best playlist of music too.
That's true. Elrod, fourth overall, your second pick. Who we got?
All right. Well, I consider in my lifetime the greatest home run derby I've ever watched was '99, and that was the one at Fenway. That's the one where you had McGuire, you had Griffey, and you had my next pick slamming Sammy Sosa. Think back to those bombs that he hit over the Green Monster. He electrified the Boston crowd. But my fondest memory of Sammy Sosa on a home run derby is the year followed that, where he won at Turner Field. He hit a home run so far at center field. There was a plaque that was put out in the center field that showed this is where one of these balls landed that Sammy Sosa hit in the derby. It landed over 500 feet. It was the longest home run in a practice, in exhibition, in a regular game that was ever hit in Turner Field. I believe he also has the second longest home run that was ever hit in Turner Field. So I just for what he did over that 2-year period, electrified the crowd. He might have been, if Josh Hamilton was on cocaine, Sammy Sosa at this time was definitely on some roids. So I'm going to go with Sammy Sosa as my next pick.
He was on court cane with his
bat. He was on court cane.
Didn't he hit one on the roof at Turner Field that year?
I don't know if he hit one on the roof, but he did. Center field at Turner Field was.
Somebody hit one on the roof that year. I thought it was Sosa.
Yeah, it might have been Bonds. Bonds in the playoffs hit one in the right field. It might have got up there,
but specifically that derby, somebody put one on the roof because I remember that.
The longest home run was Sosa though that year.
All right, Elrod, turning into round 3, number 5 overall. Who's your next pick?
I'm picking the only one we've chosen so far that is deceased. If we could bring the great Bambino to modern day to be in a home run derby, how cool would that be? There was a website. A lot of people thinks that statistics have ruined baseball analytics. In some ways they have, but in this way, I don't think that they did. What they did was they took the top home run hitters of all time, and they reduced for like Barry Bonds, for instance. They took away some home runs because of the alleged steroid use that he had, and they took away home runs for the full season. But here's the thing about Babe Ruth that stuck out at me. So Babe Ruth, of course, has the 714 home run total. But if you go back and account for all the times that he was a pitcher and did not get to bat, if you just take a conservative estimate, if you take 15 more home runs a year that he lost out on, he's nearly at 800 home runs back then. It's crazy. Babe Ruth, probably the best home run hitter of all time. If you take modern day statistics, put it with his stats, there's no one close. Second is actually Griffey. And the way they did that was they accounted for all the injury plagued seasons. He didn't have any alleged steroid use. He would be second if you do the statistics that way. But my next pick is the great Bambino himself, Babe Ruth.
You know, Babe Ruth. You know, there's a lot of talk about the Babe this year. Probably the most anybody's talked about Babe Ruth since McGuire and Sosa were chasing in '98. His number and then Maris's number. And I guess Bonds when he passed Ruth on his way to passing Aaron. But, you know, there's a lot of talk with Shohei right now. showtime out for the Angels, pitching and hitting, comparing him to the Babe. And I had somebody, a friend of the show, tell me that Shohei was probably better than Babe because the game's so different now, and Babe couldn't have done it. Here's my thing. I don't think Babe's pitching could have survived today. I think the hitters top to bottom in the MLB are just so much better than they were then. But look at the bats and the balls that Babe Ruth was hitting and hitting all those home runs. And fast forward to today. Yes, the balls have been deadened a little bit this year, but especially the last couple years. I think Babe Ruth could definitely hang with the boys today as far as hitting bombs. Maybe not off the mound. I don't think he would be as efficient off the mound today. But
yeah, try playing the Polo Grounds on the show, a home run derby, and try to go to center field about 550 yards. Yeah, 550 feet to center field, the Polo Grounds. Yeah, that's some places that Babe Ruth was hitting back then.
So, all right, Bennett, your third pick, 6th overall. Who we got?
For my third pick, I feel like
Did Elrod
it wouldn't really be. Do we have Elrod?
I'm here.
Okay. He's here. All right. Okay. All right. That's a great intro to my pick here. All right, my third pick. I feel like we couldn't really have a home run derby discussion if we don't talk about the man himself, Mr. Barry Bonds, the 1996 home run derby winner. The 96 home run derby is an interesting one. You had pretty much Bonds and McGuire slugging it out in what I like to call the steroid showdown. Okay. They go back and forth each round. Bonds hits 4, McGuire hits 4. Bonds hits 10, McGuire hits 9. Bonds hits 3, McGuire hits 2. Bonds edges him out. He finished with 17, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to consider too, back in 96, the format was way different than what we have now. Basically, you had 2 innings, they called it, and you had 5 outs per inning. So much different than it was today. They've made it now today where it's all about the numbers, and it wasn't quite like that back then. So Bonds actually set the record for the most in a home run derby. It was 17 at the time. And you look at the guy who has the all-time home run record with 762, and the guy who has the all-time record for most home runs in a season at 73. That he's done. Oh, that's been 20 years ago already. So this record's already stood for 20 years. That's how old we are. It's crazy. But yeah, I feel like I would be robbing myself and robbing you guys if I didn't have Barry Bonds somewhere on the list. So take him third.
You know, it's crazy that the all-time leader in home runs for a career and a season goes 6th on this list. And I think the reason why is because on a personal level, I did not like Barry Bonds when he played. He's not done anything to redeem that since he quit playing. He's not a likable character at all. And then there's the steroid allegations with a lot of substantial evidence out in the open. But you know, the guy still hit more home runs than anybody. He was hitting home runs as a little guy when he was a Pirate. He's still a great home run hitter. He's just a douchebag. And that has so much of the reason of why he went 6th in this draft. So from a technical ability, that's a fantastic pick at number 6. When I'm looking at these lists to see which ones I like better, I don't know how much that's going to help your case. But anyway.
Yeah, that same company that analyzed home runs actually does a downward adjustment of over 100 home runs for Barry Bonds for the later part of his career. So
And then he
would have
still hit 600 and
679 would be the total if you
he still would have broke Babe's record. Wow. Crazy. All right. Bennett, moving in around number 4, number 7 overall. Give me somebody that's guaranteed to be more likable than your last pick, regardless of who you say. Well, that's not true, but you wouldn't pick Roger Clemens. So go ahead.
No, I'm not going Roger Clemens. No pictures. Guy I'm going to pick might be a little bit of an interesting pick, but I'll try to plead my case here. I'm going for a guy that is fairly young. He's only been in the league, I think, a couple of years. He's never won a home run derby, but I think he deserves to be on this list, and that's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the son of Vladimir, which it's really cool because you've got the father, Vladimir Guerrero, who participated in the home run derby. And I think he actually won the home run derby one year. Somebody looked that up at home. And Vlad Jr. competed in 2019 and would have ran away with it if it wasn't for the guy picked number 2 overall, Pete Alonso. Listen to these numbers that he did in 2019. First round, 29 home runs. Second round, 40 home runs. Third round, 22, and got edged out in the last round by Pete Alonso, who hit 23. Vladimir Guerrero didn't win the home run derby in 2019, but he hit the most home runs in a single round with 40. And then he tops that off in the second, down the list there, hitting 29 in the first round is the 5th most that anybody's ever hit. So even though this guy lost, he's got first place and 5th place for the most home runs hit in any round in the history of the home run derby. That is absurd. He also holds the record for the most single home run derbies in a home run derby at 91, which is absolutely crazy. And even though he's only been in one home run derby, he is 3rd most all time in most home runs in a home run derby. So absolutely crazy stats for a guy that's only been in one derby and didn't get a win. He got the runner up. So absolutely crazy. I'd take my odds with him for sure.
Yeah, definitely absurd. Alonso definitely had a much harder time winning his first home run derby because of Vlad Jr. And I gotta say, I was shocked and a little disappointed Vlad Jr. wasn't in the derby this year. I wish
didn't know if there was a reason why, or I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know if he turned it down or if he didn't even get asked. I don't know. A little disappointing because he was so impressive in 2019, but I guess he kind of got made up for it a little bit. He did hit a bomb last night, last night as we're recording, 2 nights ago in the actual All-Star game, and took home the MVP. So didn't participate in the Derby, still had a pretty good All-Star outing this year. So Elrod, your 4th pick, 8th overall.
Do you remember watching I guess it was on ESPN Classic, the old home run derby show that was in black and white? They were always at classic parks. Y'all remember watching that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wrigley Field, Dodger Stadium, Dodger Stadium, old Yankee Stadium. Well, the one that I enjoyed watching the most was the one with Mickey Mantle. And just to see how far he could hit a ball. It was truly amazing. And just the stories you hear about how far Mickey Mantle, before they didn't have laser technology back then where you could get to the exact inch, but he could hit well over 500 feet. Mickey Mantle hit 536 in his career, but this same service projected that modern day would be over 600 home runs, 3-time MVP, Triple Crown winner. My second Yankee tonight. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I've got a Yankee field. So I got Babe Ruth, the greatest Yankee, and maybe second or third greatest Yankee, Mickey Mantle.
Well, friend of the show and former guest we had on the show, Mr. Conger, would be very proud of you in your 2 picks. And if I had to guess, Bennett might be a little jealous. You just drafted Mantle there, given Bennett's love for the Mick.
You do know that Rhett likes the New York Mets, not the New York.
Yeah.
The wrong one. Yeah, I am hurt a little bit. He took me. That kind of stunned a little bit. That kind of stung.
The 2 of mine are dead.
You're
All
right.
of Bennett's are alive, so I've got that working against me right now. 2 of mine are unavailable.
Another one has flirted with it with his life choices. All right, moving into the last round here. Elrod, just to remind our viewers and our listeners, your first 4 picks. In the first round, you took Josh Hamilton. Second round, you took Slamming. Do what?
2008, Josh Hamilton.
You took Josh Hamilton, number 1 overall. Josh Hamilton.
I can do that because
Sammy Sosa, Babe Ruth. Was this 27 Babe Ruth or?
this was 23 Babe Ruth.
Oh, okay.
23 Babe Ruth.
And number 8, Mickey Mantle. Would that be 61? Or are we going back a few years to when he was a little healthier?
That would be 61 Mickey Mantle.
Oh, he 56 Mantle. That's a triple crown Mantle.
He finished 61. He lost to a teammate in the home run race. All right, who's going to round out your team here?
Well, I'm going to go with someone that's also deceased. So that would be what, three of mine are deceased. But the greatest pure hitter of all time. If I've got the excitement with Josh Hamilton, and I've got Slamming Sammy Sosa, the Babe, Mickey Mantle, I will round out. I've got too many Yankees on the team. I've got to round it out with a Red Sox. I'm going Ted Williams. Ted Williams is not known primarily for his home run hitting. He had 521. But the crazy thing is, when you do this adjustment for home runs, his jumps the most off the top 20. He goes from 521 to 671, more than Bonds for his upward adjustment. The reason because of the war, World War II and Korea. That's the reason for the upward adjustment for him. But just having the ability to see Mickey Mantle, to see the Babe, to see Sammy Sosa in his prime, to see Josh Hamilton in that 1 year with the crowd going crazy. When you add Ted Williams to the fold, this is quite possibly just magic with these 5 picks right here. Pure magic and pure home run hitting. That's a great group of 5 people.
I like the pick. Big fan of Teddy baseball. And like you said, probably the best pure hitter to ever play the game. Crazy to think what his numbers would have been like. There's not a 3-year gap in the middle of his career for World War II, and he probably could have played a few more years if it wasn't for Korea. So that's just crazy to think about. Love everything there is about Teddy baseball. Bennett, your team, just to recap, you started off in the first round with the kid, Ken Griffey Jr. Then you took the polar bear, Pete Alonso. Then you took the douchebag, Barry Bonds. And then Vlad Jr. with your 4th round pick. Who's going to round out your team?
Well, I figured it's only fitting since Elrod took Sammy Sosa in his 2nd round pick. I've got to take his buddy, the Big Mac, Mark McGwire. Specifically, I'm going to take the '98 version, I guess, if we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. But in all seriousness, though, he won the Derby in '92. And he was also a runner-up 2 more times in 90 and 96. The 96, of course, is where Bonds edged him out. He would have won in '96, really, but I think he was winning by 2. And if I'm not mistaken, Bonds had just 1 out left, and he hit 3 in a row to pass McGwire there to win it. All in all, McGuire played in 5 home run derbies for the American League and 2 home run derbies for the National League, which is pretty unique. There's not a whole lot of people in history that have played home run derby for, both NL and AL. So that's pretty cool. You look at his total, he's 583 total home runs, definitely nothing to sneeze at. And of course, he was at one time the home run record or the home run hitting record guy, I guess, whatever, was 70. We all remember back in 98, McGuire and Sosa pretty much saved baseball. Because, without this home run race, baseball was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of on the downward slope there. And that definitely revived it. So I'm going to take, Big Mac, my 5th pick.
Good pick.
That's insane. Another guy that's maybe not the most likable, more likable than Bonds, but maybe not the most likable. But all right.
Hold on. Before you go into the final arguments, who we both failed to pick, and we're both Braves fans? What's wrong with us? How did we leave Hammer and Hank Aaron off our list?
It's crazy.
Some Braves fans we are.
Everybody Monday night wore 44, and yet nobody picked Hank Aaron in our the guy had the home run record for how many years, and nobody picked him. But all right, Elrod, Hamilton, Sosa, Ruth, Mantle, Williams. Why is your team the better team?
Well, I will acknowledge that 08 Josh Hamilton is probably a reach at 1, but I could easily have picked Babe Ruth at 1, or you could even make the argument for Sammy Sosa or Mickey Mantle number 1. If you look at this list top to bottom, you've got excitement. You've got 08 Josh Hamilton, electrifying New York, electrifying. If you want to talk about saving baseball, Hamilton saved the home run derby. Home run derby for the later part of after McGuire retired, Griffey, no one really cared about it. It was an afterthought. But he energized the home run derby in the later part of 08. You've got slamming Sammy Sosa, knocking the home runs over the monster, then basically knocking him out of Turner Field the year later. You've got the Babe, probably the greatest baseball player to ever play so far. You got Mickey Mantle and the greatest pure hitter of all time, Ted Williams. You've got a magic lineup, a lot of power, a lot of good hitters. I like Bennett's list. If you compare Vlad Guerrero Jr., we don't really know his true potential yet. Pete Alonso has been good in a couple of derbies. Don't know. I mean, you can't really compare Pete Alonso to Mickey Mantle or Babe Ruth, though. Unfortunately, I know you want to, but you can't do that yet. His people have potential, but my people, their book has been written. You know what you got with these folks. So that's the reason why my 5 are better.
Bennett, Griffey, Alonso, Bonds, Vlad Jr., McGuire. Why is your team better?
Well, when you look at the numbers, these guys have 7 home run derby championships to their name. I've also got the all-time home run leader with Barry Bonds. I've got 2 people on my list that set the record for the most home runs in a season. And then my one lone wolf here is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's my wild card pick. But we've seen what he could do in 2019. He basically set about every record there is to set for a home run derby in just one appearance. I've got a good balance. You've got McGuire, who was likable at the time, but since these allegations came out recently, he's not the most liked guy. Barry Bonds, a big, huge jerk. I don't know of many people that like Bonds. You could argue that King Griffey Jr. is kind of a jerk, because he kind of is, if you look at it. He really is. But then you've got Pete Alonso, the polar bear. The guy's just out there having fun. I don't know anybody that hates him. And you've got Vlad Jr., who's another guy. He's like basically one of the current faces of the Major League Baseball right now. Everybody, nobody has anything bad to say about Vlad Jr. And there's a sweet picture of him and his dad when his dad was at the home run at the All-Star game, and Vlad Jr. is like a little 1-year-old, little chubby Vlad Jr. You should look that picture up. It's funny. But really, I think I've got a good balance here. I've got people that have a lot of experience in the home run derby, a lot of people that have won home run derbies, and a lot of people that know how to hit bombs. And that's really what you really want in your team here. So I feel pretty good about my team.
You definitely want guys that can hit dingers. So what's crazy to me, each of you picked 5 guys. Fantastic burger. But anyway, each of you picked five home run hitters, 10 players overall. There's no Hank Aaron on this list. There's no Willie Mays on this list. Even with current guys, there's no Albert Pujols on this list, who's like number 5 all time right now, and still going. Probably not going to go much farther, but he's still going technically. Crazy to me who does not make this list, but there's only 10 slots. Just some overall thoughts I have. If we're looking at, we put these 10 guys out there today, Bennett's team definitely wins because it's 5-on-2 because 3 of Elrod's are dead. Bennett, of course, looking at more modern players here. All those guys I didn't name, all these guys that are here that went where they did. Don't get me wrong, judging by the one performance, he probably should be on this list, but Josh Hamilton, number 1.
Yeah.
Overall.
In terms of greatest performance that is not helped by a 6,000 feet above sea level baseball field, that the performance that Josh Hamilton had at Yankee Stadium, even though, Justin Morneau won that derby, that's a crazy thing. It's Morneau. No one talks about Morneau, but everybody and their mother remembers what Josh Hamilton did at old Yankee Stadium that night.
Because he used everything he had in the first round. But anyway. Yeah, but that's just crazy. Griffey at number 2, like I said, could be a steal. If we really look at it, one of the saddest tragedies in sports in our lifetime is the injuries of Ken Griffey Jr. Because if you just look at it, I have zero doubt and 100% confidence saying the best baseball player I have ever seen play in my lifetime, as far as a well-rounded player. Without the injuries, who knows where he'd be on all these lists. Bennett may have got the steal there at number 2. Number 3, Bennett with Alonso. Just what he's done in 2 years. I mean, he's literally won every home run derby since he's been in the league. And what he did Monday night was insane. There was never really a question. Trey Mancini did so much better in that final round than anybody expected. And it was like, oh, Pete may be in trouble. He used all his good juju first 2 rounds. No, he still came out just nailing bombs. Sosa with the 4th pick definitely takes you back to 98 in Turner Field with that performance. Somebody else that maybe not the most likable guy, but he is in Chicago or on the north side of Chicago anyway. Of course, the Babe, the what Hulk Hogan is to wrestling all time, what Wayne Gretzky is to hockey all time, what Michael Jordan is to basketball all time, Babe Ruth is to baseball. He is the name ever. Bennett getting Bonds 6th overall, 3rd round, steal. He's a douchebag, but he hit more home runs than anybody else has ever hit. Were they aided? Sure. But like I said, he was hitting home runs as a skinny kid in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, he had the ability to do it without the aids. Vlad Jr., the single greatest, even more than '08 Josh Hamilton in my mind, the single greatest home run derby performance that didn't come from a winner in 2019. Then Elrod taking Mickey Mantle, another guy that, if not for the injuries and being banged up, what could he have been? Teddy Baseball is a pick I love. I love Teddy Baseball. I've learned everything I've ever read, seen, heard about Teddy Baseball. I don't know that I love Teddy Baseball in a home run derby lineup. He could hit them. But when there were picks there like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, don't know that Teddy Baseball's the way it would have gone, but not saying it's a bad pick either. And then Mark McGwire going with the last pick is insane. He set the single season home run record in '98. Again, were they aided? Yeah, probably a little bit, but still insane. Elrod, your team is not bad at all. What's really sticking out like a sore thumb to me is that Josh Hamilton first.
That's the best pick of the night. That's the best pick of the night. Don't be the loser.
That just if you had this exact 5 and just moved Josh Hamilton to 5 and move everybody else up around, your team would look so much better to me.
No. You would have said, well, I can't believe that you picked Hamilton with your 5th pick. You could have picked Hank Aaron. So don't give me that crap. You still would have given me crap for that pick.
Okay.
You know it, I know it.
You're probably right. That's beside the point. But Bennett got Griffey at 2. He got Bonds at 6. He got McGwire at 10. Steal, massive steal, massive steal. And then the 2 best to do it over the last couple derbies, Bennett's got on his team. Who knows where those 2 guys are going to go going forward? Like I said, Elrod, you didn't pick a bad team, but Bennett picked a better one. I'm giving it to Bennett. Josh Hamilton, number 1 overall. That was
good
a
pick.
reach.
Good pick. In my mind, that's a good pick. That's all that matters.
Well, Bennett, congratulations. You have convinced me.
Very good. Hey, here's my question though. Since me and you at least watched the home run derby Monday night, if it wasn't on a time limit and they just were given 5 outs, 10 outs, whatever it was, how much longer could Pete Alonso have went that final round?
Oh, dude, that last minute before the break and then going into extra time, he was locked in. And the home run derby has gone through so many formats, even in our lifetime. I think what they have now is great. I love the single elimination. I love the time limits because you remember that '08 home run derby was like 17 and a half hours long. It seems like. This one was over Monday night in what, 2-3 hours?
Less than 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. The format now is great, but yeah, I mean, Alonso was hitting like 60% of the pitches, 60% of the pitches he saw, and I think even more than that of the swings he took were leaving the yard. I mean, if it was under the old format of 10 outs, crazy.
And he made more money Monday night than he make all season, sadly.
Yeah, that ain't going to be the case in a few years once that rookie contract's up. Well, probably even next year. Next year or the year after he's eligible for arbitration, he's going to make a little bit of money. So, all right. So Bennett,
maybe he can request a Bobby Bonilla contract.
That'd be nice.
I'm pretty good at that.
I don't know. in a few years when he's officially a free agent, I'm sure he'd rather take his 30 million each year all at once instead of spreading it out. But hey, hopefully he invests wisely. So, all right, guys. Well, that'll wrap up another week here at Convince Me. Any closing thoughts? Any parting words from either of you two gentlemen?
Me and Josh Hamilton, I guess we'll have to go hang out tonight. Hopefully, I don't end up dead somewhere.
I'm a little disappointed. We talked baseball, and neither me or Elrod took an Atlanta Brave. That's absurd. We didn't take any Phillies, so that's good.
That's good.
That's always a
So
plus.
we have that. Yeah. So no Forrest Gump references tonight.
No Andrew Jones.
No Andrew Jones. I didn't get to pick Mickey Mantle. So I got the win, but I'm not super happy. It wasn't. It just doesn't feel that. It does not feel good. No Andrew.
And here's another thing that I meant to say a minute ago. I said at the beginning of the show, if you're going to pander to the host, do it correctly. Bennett did it correctly with Pete Alonso. I was afraid somebody was going to come at me with the greatest home run hitting catcher of all time and my favorite player of all time, Mike Piazza, who hit more home runs than any catcher ever. However, when we look at home run derbies, Mike Piazza is not your guy. He competed in 2 home run derbies, and between those 2 home run derbies had a grand total of 0 home runs. So not necessarily his format. So had you pandered to me with that one, either one of you probably would have sunk your whole team.
That's how many World Series championships he has too. So that's good.
So you mean my Ray Ordonez pick at 6 is probably not going to pan out for me?
Probably not, considering Ordonez had like 12 career home runs, but man, there ain't been that many gloves since him. Man, I love that guy. He was like 5 foot nothing, weighed maybe like 86 pounds, but he could field a dadgum ball. But anyway, all right, guys, that's going to wrap up our show this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully on time. That depends on probably Elrod, like it has most other weeks. Me and Bennett try. Blame Elrod. But we'll be back next week. Make sure you go to podcastawards.com. Nominate us for People's Choice and in the entertainment category. We probably won't win, but we definitely won't if you don't go vote. So help us out there. Make sure you're getting your vote in for that. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Check out Pro Wrestling for Life, Sean Waltman's podcast. You'll see me there this week. And until next time, we'll be back next week with don't know what, but it'll be something cool. And until then, peace.